Now, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government is getting a lot of flack from multiple directions and more so from their own domestic constituency. Now, the big intelligence failure is compounded by the humanitarian violations in the Gaza Strip, and though it may seem that Netanyahu at this moment is in control, the reality is starkly different. The tide, it appears, is flowing against him. Many voices within Israel say that Netanyahu will not survive this crisis, and this will be the end of his, at least at this moment, for now, his political position. Now, Israel's National Security Advisor, Chasi Hanegbi, has admitted to errors by the Israeli intelligence and has promised a thorough probe into this matter. It's also been reported that Israel got a warning from Egypt of potential violence 3 days before Hamas carried out this attack, and this was apparently sent to them by the Egyptian intelligence agencies. But authorities, believe it or not, played down that threat that was presented to the Israeli Prime Minister. However, the National Security Advisor has also said that Israel received no concrete warning from Egypt about the Hamas attack, although they had been tipped off that Hamas appears to be planning something pretty big.
לא פנו בהתראה כלשהי, לא בעקיפין, לא במישרין, לא ברמז, לא במלמול, לא בקריצה, לאף אחד מהאנשים שאיתם בקשר, כמובן לא לראש הממשלה, שלא נועד עם שר המודיעין המצרי בכלל לאורך כל 9 חודשי כהונתו, אבל גם לא לאנשים המקורבים, כמוני, ראש שב"כ, ראש מוסד, מפקדי צה"ל שאיתו בקשר, זה פייק ניוז שכמובן הוכחש לא רק על ידינו, גם על ידי המצרים.
An all-out ground invasion in Gaza looms large, and this has, of course, triggered mass displacement of the Palestinian people who are running from pillar to post to find some refuge. But pressure has, of course, been growing over the Prime Minister. The Israeli Prime Minister, Netanyahu's ultra-far-right and ultra-orthodox government, has long held itself up as taking Israel's security very seriously. But the Israeli Prime Minister has failed for the very job that he had been appointed for. He was there to keep the Israeli people safe, but what has happened is the worst attack and the worst incursion by any Palestinian faction in the last 7 decades of Israel's existence. The security forces within Israel had largely been focused in recent weeks and months on the continuous protests within Israel over Netanyahu's efforts for a judicial overhaul, and they were caught completely off guard. And now that the Hamas attacks have led to the formation of a wartime war cabinet, the long-term political gains could, of course, be substantial. The unsolved hostage situation has complicated the matter even more for the Prime Minister. The many remain divided on how Netanyahu could find a way out of this war, and that has turned into a political dilemma. A poll by the Israeli company Dialogue Center released last week found that 4 in 5 people within the state of Israel squarely blame Netanyahu for a lack of security preparedness that allowed the biggest Palestinian incursion of a Palestinian faction into Israel. And also the poor operational response by the state of Israel is something that the Israeli people feel strongly about. Now, more than half of the Israelis who were surveyed, that is 56% of them, said that Netanyahu must go once this conflict with Gaza is over. The people at home and around the world are now demonstrating against Netanyahu's way of having handled the crisis. They say that he's the man who is responsible for having let this crisis happen in the first place. The protesters have accused Netanyahu of caring more about his own political survival than protecting the Israeli citizens. And this has in turn led to a growing call for Netanyahu's resignation immediately. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.